what changed? You look healthier. Oh.
I'm not miserable.
I quit my job. That's what changed. Yeah, say that did. Cool. That would be my thing. But in lieu of that happening, it's going to be finding something. I went through this thing with my husband and I said, I feel like I've switched from career focused to life focused.
Oh, that's a tag. That is a...
That's good. Yeah. So
so good. One more time.
From career focused to life focused.
Hey everybody, thank you for joining me on another episode of What's Your One Thing? I'm your host, Jordan Hiller, and we're pausing our new Help Me Understand Music series, but just for a moment. And don't worry, we will be back in a few weeks with deeper dives into the Mile Music Festival, and even with some recording artists that are going to be at the show. But today, I couldn't wait to share this inspiring conversation I had with an old friend, Sara Valley. She is doing the one thing we all secretly dream of doing, but don't really have the guts to do. She walked away from a stable career to chase creativity, projects, and launch her new podcast, Behind Open Doors, and truly become life-focused. Stay tuned to hear how she made the leap and why it might just give you the courage to do the same. Thank you and enjoy.
Sara and I went to high school together. We were good friends, and we reconnected recently over our love for podcasts. You are doing the thing that everybody says they want to do, which is I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to do my passion project. And that is why we have Sara on today.
Yes.
Walk us through.
Passion projects, I think.
Passion projects is a better word.
Yeah,
okay.
there have been numerous projects that have suddenly popped up, an Etsy shop, a mural painting, all sorts of other things. You were one of the first people that were like, congratulations. It was a distinct group of people, I would say, that I got that response from. And then there were other people that were like, what did you do?
So just to backtrack, this was my response to her telling me that she quit her job.
Yes. We had just started chatting again and reconnected over the podcast. Then I was like, hey, Jordan, by the way, I had a sudden life change. So I'm going to be more serious about this podcast now. And then I said I left my job, and it was sudden and it was not anticipated. The day I left my job, I went in not expecting to leave that day.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But it had been something that I had thought about a lot. I had talked with the agency about a lot. I had said, whatever is happening right now, if this continues to happen, I'm going to have to leave. That's the thing that I have control over. For me, this isn't a good fit. So ultimately, there'd been a lot of forethought. But the day I went in, I had not anticipated to then walk out unemployed that day. And then I did it. And then it was like, oh my goodness. I just walked away from our income, a good income, and a good place in my career. And I think that was one of the big parts of it. I hit a place in my career where I'd worked for, I'd got there, and I loved what I did. And I still love it. Would go back to doing that same type of work in a heartbeat.
And what is it? Just a kind of, you don't have to go into
behavioral health.
Okay.
So long-term behavioral health, really working with adults that have dual diagnosis and helping them find ways to live in this world. And then educating the staff on what that looks and means, because a lot of it is just education and treating people like people and with respect and getting to know people and finding workarounds for things. You don't want to do the dishes? Make a budget for paper plates or different things like that.
There's a solution for everything.
There's a solution to things. So behavioral health is a lot of, we're going to play around and find out the solutions. That's just what it does. And I love that. That works for me. But left that behind. And the plan for the summer is to work on the projects and then spend the time with the kids, which I think is super cool. My mom was a stay-at-home mom for most of my childhood. So that's what I know. I knew mom being home, and we went to the library. We went and did all these stuff. And then when I became a mom, I was like, how do I work and do these things that my mom did? The answer was I didn't. And that was another driving force, and leaving work and doing all the other projects. The podcast that I'm doing with my friend, I can sit with her on an afternoon and we can record. I enjoy doing it because I enjoy our conversation, and I can still be there for my kids. So there's been moments of grief, I would say, over my career, even though I know it's not technically done. I'm planning to go back to work at some point. But there's still some grief over, there was this position and there was this dream and this vision. But also, this podcast has been a dream of mine since 2019. So picking that back up and starting over on that is going to be really kind of exciting. And my husband and I were talking about it at one point, and it was a very much a like, you are excited when you talk about these other things. Whenever you talk about the options that are out there, you are excited. It's not stress. It's not tired. It's not exhaustion. And actually, since I have left, I've had numerous people say, you look healthier.
That's amazing. Like,
yeah.
That is what you want to hear.
Right. Wow. Could have told you that my job was physically affecting my health. I knew that and I was saying that, but then to have people after the fact be like, what changed? You look healthier. Oh.
I'm not miserable.
I quit my job. That's what changed. Yeah, it's been really interesting to have that happen.
So that is really cool. But there's obviously the drawback. So there is financial. There's other things. It's got to be scary. You didn't have a plan going in. So was there a safety net? Were you guys prepared for sudden loss of income? There's a lot of things that people, hey, I wish I could go do this and go work on a passion project. I just can't afford it right now.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of that, and there's a little bit of, I just have faith we're going to figure it out. So we do have a safety net, and we do have enough of an income to cover all of our expenses.
Okay.
That piece of things is taken care of. Extra spending money, any of the fun things, the kids having the random expenses that kids have, all of that stuff is going to come from the safety net in the interim. And then, like I said, ultimately in the fall, say my podcast that I'm started doesn't magically go global in 3 months, which I don't actually foresee. No, it's not going to happen.
Spoiler alert.
But
right, like,
not. Say that did. Cool. That would be my thing. But in lieu of that happening, it's going to be finding something. I went through this thing with my husband and I said, I feel like I've switched from career focused to life focused.
Oh, that's a tag. That is a... That's good.
Yeah. So like
so good. One more time.
From career focused to life focused. And so I was very career focused. Like that was life. You have to go to work. You do things to work, and work kind of outlined the rest of my life. And I built my days around work. And now that I don't have work and I'm starting to realize that there's life without work, it's very much focused on, well, what is life? And what are we doing today? And what do we want to create? And where do we want to create that? And building that piece of things. So Mother's Day just occurred. And my son brought home all the little things they fill out about moms. Aww. Yeah. So one of them was, my mom is happiest when, and his fill in the blank was when she's not at work.
That is eye-opening.
Yes, and I'm sure that is for many people. I'm I'm sure that is a sentiment that other people feel.
Kids say that is another thing.
Right. Yeah. And he's right. For the last year, much more happy when I wasn't at work. And now again, like healthier and happier since leaving. To get back to your original question though, like the financial piece of things, I do plan in the fall to go back at some point. There's options. If I have nothing else lined up, they're always looking for substitute teachers. And I think it'd be so fun to be a substitute teacher. Just have conversations with kids and hang out, and I know it's more than that, but to me that sounds like a fun thing to do.
Oh, I wholeheartedly agree. There was a time where I was talking to Amanda and I just told her, I'm like, I think I want to be a teacher. And I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means being in a classroom or in the sense of a teacher or professor, but just somebody that gets to talk to people for a living.
Yes.
That's what I want. So I can understand that. So you are on this sabbatical.
Yes.
This journey.
That's a good word for it.
It's a good word. And you're trying out the podcast, the mural, the Etsy shop. We can kind of go into the podcast a little bit because I loved the concept and I loved the idea behind it.
Yeah.
So just give us the 30-second elevator pitch.
It's me and one of my closest friends to talk about topics that people don't like to talk about often or that are kept behind closed doors and bring them out into the open from different perspectives. Part of our intro was talking about the fact that we're friends by choice. So we choose to remain friends and we choose to have these hard conversations because we find value in that different perspective.
Mm-hmm. Give me one topic.
The episode coming out next is adult friendships.
Okay.
But we have like vulnerability and aerial dance and pole dancing and the stigma around that. We have mental health in the workplace. We're going to talk about miscarriage and infant loss. We've both experienced that. So really diving into that and the stigma around that. I have a feeling that'll be a few episodes of what that looks like. Living with grief. Family dynamics and relationship dynamics. So my husband was listening to me edit our friendship podcast and he heard him be referenced and he was like, oh, do I need to be worried about this? And I was like, no, not this one. You don't.
And that's you get a little dicey. Sometimes there is a couple where she's like, maybe you don't talk about me in the podcast. So let's just say it comes up.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm sure when it gets there, we'll work through it. And again, I'll edit out things if I need to edit them out. But generally speaking, I tend to talk more openly about a lot of our life. And I'm not hesitant to do that. Just making things more public seems to be helpful to other people, and then also hopefully to my kids so that they can see that.
Yeah, you could be an inspiration to them, because you're right. These conversations you're going to have are normally behind closed doors.
Yes.
And you are bringing them out into the open, and not necessarily to talk down on any of them or talk bad. Like you said, you have differing opinions. It's just having the conversation in open to show people that if it has a stigma around it, like child loss, that's a hard one.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be for everybody.
Yep.
Which is, if you try to make something for everybody, you're not going to get anybody. So the fact that you have a very select niche of listeners, these are going to be very passionate people. These are going to be people that want to keep coming back because they probably don't have an outlet for most of these conversations. And I could see this being really helpful to people out there that are dealing and struggling with tough conversations.
And that's part of it too. When we were talking about, we want to start this podcast, it was I just want to start a conversation. I don't intend to change people's minds. It's just, let's have a conversation and let's show different perspectives about the hard things.
I'm with you, and I'm really excited for the aerial yoga and the pole dancing one, because I think I've already told you the story too. My wife is into aerial, she's into pole dancing, and it has one of those kind of taboo, risque connotations to it. And I'll never forget, we had a pole up in our living room, and my mom and stepdad were coming over to babysit the girls one night, and it's just one of those things where in the back of your head you're like, shh, do I take it? Do I take it down? Do I leave it? Do I make it? How? Because there's literally just a stripper pole in our living room, and it's dead center in front of the TV.
Yeah.
But it was just it's a fun exercise, and I loved it personally.
Yeah.
I mean,
we also have a pole in our living room.
Yeah, so you get it.
And we also have a hammock. So the kids,
we do too.
Yeah, the kids play on the hammock a lot. I was actually showing them new tricks yesterday, and we were practicing that and some acro and stuff. And there is a lot of stigma. There have been times where people have come to my house, and especially in the beginning, I'm pretty open about it now, but in the beginning I was like, shush, I can't tell anybody I'm doing this. There were people that didn't talk to me, like came over and they saw that and they left my house without acknowledging me or any of that. And some of that too is like, do we want those people in our life?
It's a good filter. That's right. Find out if you're my friend or not. Let's see how you take the stripper pole in the kitchen.
Yes. Yeah. It's right next to our Christmas tree when we put our Christmas tree up. So like Christmas, it's right there. Yeah. But it is also so much part of my life and has really helped kind of me throughout the last few years. I've grown astronomically, physically, but also like mentally, emotionally through aerial dance, through the people there, through doing the sport. And I think it's important that the kids see me, they get to see me doing it and they get to do it with me. We play on the pole together all the time, not all the time, but frequently, and play on the hammock and that kind of stuff. And so kind of helping break that stigma.
Oh, absolutely. And just not only the stigma, but I'll use my wife as an example. I know she hates me talking about her, but she doesn't listen. It's fine. She is more of an introvert. When she started doing these classes, it completely changed her perspective, but she was able to do shows in front of people. She did a Halloween show and got all dressed up and did aerial. Yeah. And it was incredible to see her come out of her shell when that's not who I've known for the last 8 years or whatever. So it's crazy on how much this one activity can make you physically stronger, can change you emotionally. Yeah. It was a neat experience. So by just closing your mind up because you're like, oh, this looks a certain way, or it could be taken the wrong way, to close yourself off to something like that is being closed-minded.
Right. Yeah. And I would never have considered myself a dancer. And sometimes it doesn't always feel like dancing because you're doing a passion and you're doing skills and you're working on different things and you're building strength and you're building friendships.
It's hard work.
It is hard work. Yes.
Well, that's incredible. I'm super stoked for this journey, not only with the podcast, but just life in general. You're not career focused, you're life focused.
Yes.
If that's one takeaway I want anybody to grab from this episode is, are you career focused right now? Which is fine. If there's a time and a place for it. But don't make that everything. And I've struggled with that in parts of my life where work needed to be the number one concern, climbing the corporate ladder.
Yes.
And then you get to a certain point and you're like, okay,
For what?
For what?
That was one of the things that helped me make an ending decision is for what? And I couldn't really answer that question other than for money. And that's
There's millions of ways to make
right.
money.
Like I could make money other ways. So then there's passion for those things that I was doing, but why am I in a place where I don't feel like I belong anymore for money? And I know other people have to make that choice. Not everyone has the ability to financially say, okay, I'm not making this choice anymore. But I also said, like, you couldn't pay me to feel the way that I'm feeling. And again,
They were.
and they were. Yeah. Yes. If you would have come to me and said, hey, Jordan, I'm going to have you feel this way for 1 hour. And in exchange, I'm going to give you this amount of money. You'd laugh at me and you'd say no. And
That's such a good way to look at it.
those two things really helped me continue. And it's still hard. And I still have moments where I'm not this excited about doing it.
Yes.
But those are the things that really, this is important.
Okay. Well, this is incredible. And I'm so happy for you. I would just say when it comes down to the timeline,
Yeah.
so you're giving yourself the summer, you've got 3 months. Anything that is worthwhile takes time. So as much as we would all love things to take off and flourish, if it doesn't, don't take that 3-month mark as a hard water line saying, hey, if it doesn't work by now, I'm going to go back into the workforce and do this. By all means, I love the teacher idea. I love that. Go on there, but give yourself a 9 to 12 month runway on some of these things. Really give it some time before, okay, hey, just because I have a passion for it doesn't mean that it's going to be something that's a forever thing.
Yeah.
But just give it a little bit more time. That's my only advice.
The podcast is definitely going to be something that I give more than 3 months. Okay. I don't actually think we're going to become global in a matter of a month or two and go from there.
There's a little part in everybody's brain. They're like, I'm going to drop this and it's going to go wild.
Yeah. My five followers and 13 listens.
Yes.
Yes. I do think long term, the podcast will stick around, maybe other podcast options. I've had some thoughts in my brain about more of a professionally aimed one, talking about behavioral health and the way in which I tend to do behavioral health. But yes, something will happen in the fall professionally. And until then, I'm just going to enjoy life.
Yeah. Experiment, have fun, be there for your kids, and just figure out you.
Yeah.
I mean, you've spent so much time building a career that who's Sarah? What does Sarah want?
Yes. All of those things are great questions.
Yeah. And I'm in that boat too. What does Jordan want? What do you want, listener? What do you want? I think that's a good spot to leave it. Are you climbing the ladder to the end that you want to get to? Or is it just a ladder that was there and was convenient? Yeah. Somebody else put it there for you.
It's what you thought you were supposed to do.
It's what you thought you were supposed to do. Yeah. So take a step back and just think, does this make me happy? Do I see this future? Or is it just a means to an end?
Yeah. And sometimes think at what cost?
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, this has been a lot of fun. And I'm so excited to listen in and some of these conversations you have. We'll give a plug. Name of the show?
Behind Open Doors.
Behind Open Doors. Love the name. So far, so good.
Thank
Episode
you.
1 in the books. I'm so glad I was able to help nudge
one of the first listeners.
Nudge a little bit further and get into it and just enjoy it, experiment. As I've said, if you listen back to episode 1 of this show, it's nowhere the same.
And I have listened to all of the episodes. So
it grows.
It's been a journey.
Yeah. And so you are just beginning on yours, and I'm super stoked to be
thank you.
along for the ride. Okay, Sarah, this has been lots of fun reconnecting and chatting. We'll have to do it again, and you've got a follower in your corner, no matter what.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. And we are out of here.